see a bill for the carriages for $3,000.
Maybe. Maybe it's here.
Yeah.
I'm good now.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Guymon City Council. At this time, I'd like to invite Pastor Stacy Ross of Northridge Free Will Baptist Church for the invocation.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we love you today. You are great and awesome. You are worthy of our praise and worthy of our devotion. We are thankful, Lord, for this season and what it represents. It's amazing to think that you would look down and see us in our rebellion. You would care and send your Son to come to this earth in our place and die such an awful death so that we might be saved. Lord, thank you for that throughout this season, that our hearts and minds be centered upon you. Guide our council tonight. Give them wisdom and guidance to make good decisions that would bring glory to your name. Work in our community and help us, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Alvidrez, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting to order. Item 2, attendance roll call.
Living Good,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Egger. Present. Alvidrez,
Present.
Swager,
Here.
Hoffman. Here. Mr. Petty,
Here.
Mr. Dunham.
Present. Item 3, public comments and announcements. Okay. Item 4, approval of the consent agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, item 4.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second.
Swager,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Alvidrez.
Aye.
Egger.
Aye.
Living Good.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item 5, discussion and possible action to enter in a public hearing in order to take public input on the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget.
Well, I'd like to make a few opening comments about the budget before we get into a lot of public comments about it. First of all, since the presentation over the last couple of weeks that we had about the budget, there's not been a lot of substantial changes. There were some minor things that we've taken care of and moved a few dollars around, but as far as substantially, there's been no change maybe to the budget. We are still looking at revenues at about $38.7 million. Of that, 25% is taxes, 12% is intergovernmental revenues, 14% services and charges, and interest and dividends are a large amount. That's going to be about, let me see, I can't hardly read my deal. Well, services and charges is 33%. Interest and dividends is going to be 14%. That, except for the interest income, that's going to fall right in line with prior year's budgets. Well, except for intergovernmental and investment income, we are anticipating a large amount in grants that we've applied for, waiting for a confirmation of, to hear one way or another. We have budgeted for those funds. If we do not receive those grants, that puts any project that related back to those grants up for further discussion. If we For example, we've got $200,000 for cardiac monitors for the ambulance service. If we don't get that $200,000 grant, are we going to proceed with that project? And if we are going to proceed with that project, how are we going to pay for that project? How does that change our priorities? The same thing for any of the grants that we have, that we've applied for. And we've applied for a substantial number of grants. As far as the expenditures are concerned, we are anticipating about $36.8 million in expenditures. Again, that will fall right in line with the expenditure levels that we have had in previous years, except for capital outlay. Capital outlay has a substantial number of projects in it. We've got a $4 million AMR project. We've got a $2.5 million water tank project. We've got improvements to our water wells. We've got improvements to the streets. We're going to be looking into trying to get a $500,000 grant from ODOT to where we would match that grant to expand what we can improve on streets next year. And all that is in capital, all those expenditures are listed under capital improvements. At the end of the day, when everything is said and done, we anticipate having a retainage of about 4% of revenues to go back into retained earnings or fund balance. This is money that we need to set aside in case of a major disaster, major emergency that we've got that may come up that we need to tap into. Now, there have been, I know I've gotten several questions from y'all relating back to what I classify as operational items. This budget does not go into how are we going to fix streets. It allocates about $750,000 to repair streets. It does not go into how are we going to fix the water wells. We've got money allocated to go toward that. It doesn't go into how are we going to fix the police station, but it's got money to go toward that. What I have asked the mayor to do is appoint separate task forces for each individual item that we have identified as a major project, as a priority major project. Those task force would be the police station. How are we going to address that? The members of that task force, I've asked the mayor to appoint 2 council members, 2 staff members from the department, and myself to address those needs. Each task force has a defined timetable. The police station to get to determine what we need to do to fix the police station on a permanent basis. We would want to get 2 options from the task force within 3 months after the new budget year. We ought to be able to make that happen. One of the other task forces is water well improvement, water supply improvement. We've got a little longer timeline on that. Still 2 council members, 2 members from the water department, and myself. The only one that's going to be a little larger task force at this point in time would be the golf course. There are some major issues that need to be taken care of at the golf course. There are a lot of maintenance problems out there. I have asked the mayor to appoint 2 city council members, 2 two golf course board members, myself, and a staff member from the, myself as part of the main group, and then have a staff member as an ex officio, from the golf course, as an ex officio member. That ex officio member wouldn't necessarily have any voting rights on the board, on the task force, but they would have the right to be there for information, be able to provide input, but be able to tell us more about what's going on. I think it's for these task force that we're talking about, I think it's very important that we have members both from city council and from the departments that are going to be affected. And if that task force deems it necessary to hear from members of the public, they can bring those people in as separate, as a separate discussion item for any particular day, for any particular meeting. Also, there would be recommendations that would come back to the city council from each task force, or options to come back to the city council for the city council to approve and vote on one. Once we have that in place, then we can talk more about how we're going to fix some of these problems. What streets are going to be addressed? How are we going to deal with the water issues in the summer? How are we going to deal with the police station issues that we have right now? Some of these issues are not going to be quick fixes. Depending on the route that is taken for a police station, for example, at best, we're looking at a 3.5 year time frame to get completed, but more than likely, probably 5 years to get completely finished with that project. And that would be, but we would have all that lined out from the task force to the city council. Those are a lot of the questions that I have heard from board members on how we're going to address things. I know that there were some questions about the development fund and the monies that are being budgeted in the development fund. Those monies that have been budgeted in that development fund, we have cash on hand now for those projects, for that amount of money. We've just put it on the books to go ahead and budget the expenditure of it, so we don't have to come back at a later day and try to make a budget amendment. We do that. There's no reason. There's not a reason. If we don't have a reason to spend that money, we won't spend that money, but we will have it budgeted to spend should there be a need in any of those areas. And that, at this time, I would go ahead and open it up to try to answer any questions that you, the city council, would have, or anybody in the audience, anything that they may have.
For these task forces,
Yes,
I have a
okay.
question. For these task forces, would it be out of the ordinary to get somebody that specializes, for instance, golf course, somebody who specializes in water wells, or is it?
I would say that the task force is our members, the people that we want. If that task force deems necessary to hear from industry experts, they can bring them in.
Understood, thank you.
Very well answered all my questions.
Okay. That's what I was hoping to do.
Well, and mine too, I'd had a lot of calls over the streets and the water wells and those things, but
Yeah.
I think when they looked at the budget, they didn't realize operations is categorized different than.
Yeah,
The
this
others,
is,
and
yeah,
that's all.
this document does not go into how we're going to fix things.
Right.
It goes into where is the money coming from to fix things.
I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, the final comment that I would make is that I want to express my thanks to all of the City of Guymon staff for this document. This document is not a one-person compilation. It was made and developed with input from all of the directors and all of the staff of the City of Guymon, and it would not have been possible without those directors and those employees. So I want to express my thanks to them for their help in preparing this document.
Joe Don, I'd like to give you a special thanks too, because I know when you probably got into that, it was hard. I've been in a lot of budget meetings and getting everybody to build a budget here because we came from IBTS, and I know Mitch Wagner had to build a budget quickly when he took over, and so I know you went into depth, and thank you for that, because as I looked through it, you got deep.
Okay. Item 6, discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 20-15, adopting the operating budget for the fiscal year beginning January 2nd, 2021, and ending December 31st, 2021, and authorizing budget transfers.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2015, adopting the operating budget for fiscal year beginning January 2nd, 2021, ending December 31st, 2021, authorizing budget transfers, item 6.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second.
Egger,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Livengood.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item 7, discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 20-16, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Guymon, Oklahoma, establishing an investment policy for the City of Guymon.
This item is a routine housekeeping item we do every year. What it will allow is, it will allow our city treasurer to make investments on our behalf when we have idle funds.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 20-16, a resolution of the City Council, City of Guymon, Oklahoma, establishing an investment policy for the City of Guymon.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Egger,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Livengood.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item 8, discussion and possible action on approval of resolution number 20-17, a resolution calling an election and a notice of election for council members from wards 1 and 2 of the City of Guymon.
Well, it's that time of year again. It's time for us to authorize and put together the language for an election for wards that are terminating in April. And this resolution will allow us to get that language to the election secretary for vote in April.
Ward 1 is Sergio Alvedras, me. Ward 2.
Ward 2.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 20-17, a resolution calling for election and notice of election for council members from wards 1 and 2 of the City of Guymon.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Swager.
Aye.
Egger.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Livengood.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
All right, item 9, discussion and possible action on approval or ordinance number 865, an ordinance of the City of Guymon, Oklahoma, calling for an election of qualified voters of the city to grant to Tri-County Electric Cooperative Incorporated and its successors in interest a franchise to enter upon and use the streets, avenues, boulevards, alleys, highways, sidewalks, bridges, and other public grounds of the city within city limits as they now exist or as they may be changed from time to time for a period of 10 years to use, sell, distribute, supply electric energy for light, heat, power, and other purposes to the city and its inhabitants, and to others, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing severability, and declaring emergency.
Okay, this this ordinance is to go out for an election to allow Tri-County Electric Cooperative to utilize our right-of-ways and to collect a fee for that. This will be a special election held on February 9th of 2021. It's renewing, the ordinance would renew an ordinance that was done 10 years ago. We do have representatives from Tri-County Electric with us tonight. If they would like to make any comments, I would open the floor up to them.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Jim Fletcher. I'm a local lawyer here in Guymon, Oklahoma. The situation, I think the first step for you is to determine the percentage of a rebate that would be paid to you, to the city of Guymon. At this present time, it's 5%. The discussion, and also, you may be surprised to realize that there are portions of the city of Guymon where Tri-County cannot get access into. And we would like for you to consider verbiage to the franchise that would allow for for Tri-County to be held harmless in those situations. What we have at this present time is, I would invite you to consider what percentage, as I indicated, it's been at 5% at the present time, what percentage of a franchise rebatement that you would desire to have voted, and then that has to be voted on by the electorate of the city of Guymon.
And the ordinance that you've been provided, council, it continues that 5% of gross receipts.
I think that seems like a fair amount to continue on.
The question I have, this comes to an end December 31st, 2020. It does not get voted on until February 9th of 2021. Does that do anything legal-wise to Tri-County going in and fixing things that need to be fixed?
It does not. To my opinion, it does not. It continues on at the present 5%.
Okay.
And I would invite comments from
I
either
think
Mr.
that's exactly right.
Okay.
Is, Mr. Fletcher, you said about verbiage to hold you harmless, is that not already in place, Mr. Petty, or do we need to have that? He made a comment about having verbiage in the ordinance for the proclamation to hold Tri-County harmless when they go into easements and do things. Is that not already part of that, the fact that the easement's there?
I don't think so, no, sir.
I don't think it is. One problem you have is a timing problem because of the notice period prior to the election. I think this will make the timing period for the election, if this ordinance is adopted, by a 2-day margin. So I don't think there's a way to avoid adoption of this ordinance, because it needs to be passed and published in order to make that 60-day window before the election date, and the state statute sets those staggered election dates. And if the one in February is missed, I don't recall when the next one is. It's down in May, I think.
Let me look. I think I've got the.
Be during our city council election, in March. You can't do it.
Well, I don't have
The city
the.
council election.
No, these have to go on a special.
Yeah, I don't have the election schedule with me. I don't believe in our documents. Let me check one other place. No, I don't have the election schedule with me.
And they're quite arbitrary. I agree with Mr. Petty on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's just a timing thing that developed.
So currently, what happens when somebody calls, for instance, 811, call before you dig, and TCEC is a utility company. How do they go mark the utilities in that area? Is it,
Sergio, I don't have a response to that. Mr. Purdy will probably have a response.
Good evening. I'm Chris Purdy, Vice President of Member Services at TCEC. Today, when someone calls 811, they're going to go out and do the locate like they normally would. What we're talking about are things where there's no access, and if we were denied permission or a member were to hold us up for going and doing a repair, for instance, maybe in the Elks Edition or Hitch Edition where the right-of-ways have been built over.
right, there's more issues
There may be
there.
some problems, where someone said, we're not letting you on there, and then if we don't get if we don't get there and get it done, would we be held liable for not getting the electricity back on in a timely manner? So we're looking for some kind of indemnity to hold us harmless for that. We're going to do our best, and we're going to try our best to get in there and get it done. And it may upset a few citizens, but there was just nothing in the current agreement or the current ordinance that helped us in that. So we were just looking for some wording to go there.
Understood.
As far as 811's called, we're going to go out there
You're gonna
and
go out
locate
there.
it like we normally do.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other questions that you want to raise at this point in time?
The citizens will be voting on this ordinance, so we could not change it after it was voted on, could we?
No, this is the one, because this one is what will be sent to the election board, and then they prepare the question, and, it's unfortunate, but with timing, it's just, this is identical to what we've had for 10 years. And I'm just shooting from the hip. It may be possible to address that problem later with another type of approach. I just don't know.
What harm would it be if we delayed the election from February to, say, May or April, whenever the next one was, so we could write the ordinance, include something to that effect?
Well, you can do it, except, Jim and I could talk about it later, but the Constitution requires a franchise. And the case law under that constitutional provision says that the reason for it was to prevent municipalities from abusing the right to grant privileges for utility to operate at a below market rate. And so in order to operate, you're supposed to have a franchise. Now, the wording of our existing ordinance, that 5% is called a rental. And I agree with Jim that even though the franchise has expired, that rental will continue until another ordinance is enacted.
So, Dave, Mr. Petty, so I'm understanding that you're of the mindset that there's a possibility for us to work a resolution or something else after this is passed?
I don't know if that's possible or
But
not,
there might
but
be.
it's worth looking at to see if Jim and I can come up with something. I understand there's a limit.
Any other discussion?
What's the cost of election? If we pass this for 1 year and then go back and have that resolution for 10 years next year, and do this for 1 year and have that phrase in their form, be held harmless.
Well, The election is going to cost somewhere, the election will cost in the neighborhood of around $4,000, $5,000, I believe is what we were told. And actually, that cost will ultimately be borne by Tri-County Electric. They will either pay directly the election costs, or they will reimburse the city the election costs. However we can make that work mechanically through our system. So it would be, yeah, I guess as far as changing that, it would be whether or not Tri-County Electric would want to pay that election twice. Of course, the obvious problem is you've got the same election for the same issue 2 years in a row. They pass it, citizens pass it 1 year and don't pass it the next.
Larry, I'm not understanding why you're asking that, just information, just trying to.
Okay, they want that clause
Right.
included in it.
And I understand
There's no
that.
way we can get this in this resolution and have the election in February. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if we did it for 1 year and then go for another election in the next year and have that language in there, then that would solve the problem. It'd just be 1 year down the road. But we can't do it right now. We can't add that language right now.
Tri-County would just as soon that you approve it as it is
Yeah,
and continue forward.
yeah, because if we approve it as it is, it solves the problem too, correct?
It does.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm not understanding.
And as Mr. Petty indicated, I'm sure that we can work out something that will resolve the problem for us.
I would hope so, yeah.
I would hope so. I'd be hopeful too.
My recommendation would be to go ahead and adopt this ordinance, and then let us see if we can't come up with a means to address that issue that Tri-County has facing it.
Okay.
I'll make the motion that we approve ordinance number 865, ordinance of the City of Guymon, Oklahoma, calling for the election of qualified voters of the city to grant to Tri-County Electric Cooperative Incorporated and its successors in interest of franchise to enter upon and use the streets, avenues, boulevards, alleys, highways, sidewalks, bridges, and other public grounds of the city within city limits. Everything in item 9.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second.
Egger.
Aye.
Peterson. Aye. Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Livengood.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Now, the emergency clause does have to be voted on separately.
Correct.
Make a motion, we declare it emergency.
Second.
I have a motion in 2 seconds.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Egger.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Livengood.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item 10, discussion and possible action on election proclamation calling for an election of qualified electors to approve or disapprove ordinance 865 granting Tri-County Electric Cooperative Incorporated a franchise to enter and use the streets, avenues, boulevards, alleys, highways, sidewalks, bridges, and other public grounds to deliver and sell electrical power to the residents of Guymon.
This proclamation is just a companion item to the ordinance that you just passed.
I'll make a motion that we pass the election proclamation calling for an election of qualified electors to approve or disapprove ordinance 865.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Peterson.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Egger.
Aye.
Livengood.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item 11, discussion and possible action to authorize the city attorney and the city manager to develop an ordinance revising the dates of the cemetery board meetings.
David and I have had other discussions on this item as early as this morning, and we have figured out a different manner to approve this item. or to get this item corrected. And there, at this time, there's no need for any action on this item.
Item 12, discussion and acknowledgement of the library's Food for Fines campaign.
Okay, Food for Fines, that was a program that is actually a national program, a national campaign that libraries have the option of participating in. And it's basically where we collect non-perishable food items in lieu of collecting a fine. Over the past few weeks when we were participating in this, the city of Guymon waived up to $1 worth of fines for any unopened, non-perishable food item. So, example of that, if you had up to $1 worth of a fine and brought in a can of corn that was unopened and in good shape, we would forgive that $1 worth of fines. If you had $1.50 worth of fines, it would take 2 cans of corn. We forgave approximately $32 worth of outstanding fines, and we collected 37 cans of unopened non-perishable food items, 4 cans of baby food, and 4 cans of baby food. And this was all taken to Loaves and Fishes Food Pantry for distribution. And we just need council to acknowledge that we participated in this program.
Okay. Yep. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Item 13, discussion and possible action on approval of funding request from Artist Incubation for $3,000 for Christmas open house and $5,000 for a matching grant from the Oklahoma Arts Council. I believe Mr. Quimby's here to speak to us.
Yeah, I drew the short straw, I guess, so you have to listen to me. This past Friday night was the Christmas open house downtown. I don't know how many of you got to come out. It ended up being a really good event. When the evening first started, I thought it was kind of slow, but the longer it went, the more people came, and it just went on for the full time frame from the 6 to 9. And what we've requested in the past, and I know the city's helped fund us before, is to help reimburse the carriages that come out and give the carriage rides and stuff around town. And of course, the main purpose is that we do get people in town, people to shop. And there was approximately, I think y'all got a text, hopefully an email on your phone that showed the pictures of it. Okay. It was supposed to be sent.
Well, it was sent. A lot of our council members could not open that up, and I couldn't get it around where I could forward it to them unopened.
Okay.
Or get it opened up and saved and forwarded to them. So
Okay.
most of them probably have not seen those pictures.
Okay, well, apologize for that. I didn't have the opportunity to send them. I didn't send them, but, okay. But it showed the different businesses in the downtown and the crowds and different things. And it was a busy, active night. And so that's the first part of the project. Of course, the main thing is just to get people to shop in Guymon and spend their money here. And I think it worked pretty well the other night. So there's approximately 20 different businesses and sponsors that were open and participated, and we were really thankful for that. So, the second part of this is a project that we applied for. It came available last April. It was a military grant from the Arts Association, specifically for veterans, families of veterans, active duty, and basically a big part of that is due to the number of military that have problems after service. I know a lot of them don't talk about it, but it's to get them active and maybe in groups together where they can actually talk about and visit about their problems and have a good time socially. The Art Council sponsors it because
we originally had this program set up. It was supposed to become available earlier in the year. Due to COVID over the summer and everything, they never had meetings. We never got even an announcement till it was, I can't remember whether it was 2 days before or after Veterans Day that we even got the announcement that the grants had actually went ahead and got funded. We want to find matching funds to go with the grant. And basically we've got, it's set up to where you provide most of these programs happen within 13 weeks, which now we kind of got to shift our focus into the first part of next year. Their funding goes through June 1st, so the program has to be completed by June 1st. And our last event would probably need to tie in the week of Memorial Day to satisfy all the requirements. You know, we've got a wonderful facility across the street. We want to give different pottery classes, and this will also involve family members. The family members of these veterans can come participate. We've got different art programs we want to do. We want to do the pottery, we want to do painting. We've got access to do culinary with cooking, and we want to promote these classes not only from Guymon, but probably every city in Texas County. And if somebody lives on the county line out there on the other side of the county, we wouldn't be opposed to helping them as well. But the main purpose of this, and one thing that really caught my attention was about 2 months ago. This was towards the last part of October sometime. I was in the post office. And just when I got in, this guy was talking to a guy at one of those tables in there. And he said, man, I haven't seen you in a long time. How you doing? He said, well, I'm not doing so good. And he said, what's the matter? He said, well, I've worked for a company a long time, and they did evaluations on everybody. And then they came and told me they wanted to put me on disability. He said, I'm a veteran. And they said, I'm in a group that has a high incidence of suicide. And so they decided to put me on disability because I was in that high group. He said, he said, you know, not one time had I ever thought of committing suicide until that day when they told me. And it kind of breaks your heart that things like that happen. But he says, I've thought about it every day since. He said, I don't intend to do it, but it pops in your mind. And it's a program that we want to help these veterans. The money's available. We've got the access to help them. We've got plenty of people in the community between Chet Crone, Larry Bueller, Jim Norris. We've got all the artists in the world access through OPSU that'll help us. And we would like to really do this program.
Have you contacted any of those individuals?
Not up front, because we don't want to tell about it if we can't do it. I mean,
So you're asking if we give you $3,000, they'll give you Oklahoma Arts Foundation will give you a $5,000.
The $3,000's for the open house, for the
And then
Christmas open house.
So you're asking for an additional $5,000.
Additional $5,000 to go into this next spring to help do this. We're going to get $5,000, and we want to get $5,000 more to help with this program. I mean, it'll be providing meals, it'll be doing a lot of different things. But,
This is the first time asking for this, right?
this is the very first time, because this is the first time this has become available. I think there was a limited amount of funding. I think there was $100,000 put in this program, and we thought we were very fortunate to be one of the 5,000.
Yes.
But
I guess my question is, because I've read the commentary from the tourism board, but anyway, is the matching grant part of the way that you get the grant, or can you get the grant without the match?
I think we need the match because we don't get there. Yes.
Think, you know.
It's a matching grant's what it's called, so yes.
Now, I called two of the other cities that got a grant just like you.
Yes.
They were not asking the city for matching grants.
Maybe they have other.
Eden or Oklahoma City, neither one of them were asking the city to match that grant that they got. And they got the same, it was exactly what you guys got. So,
Okay.
and I'm concerned about the forms, or lack of information on them. If we let everybody in the community request funds with them filled, not even completely filled out, then we're setting ourselves up for more problems down the road.
What did you get?
Also, at the Tourism Board meeting, we asked how many veterans they were planning on helping, and the figure that was tossed to us was 1,000. I don't think there's 1,000 veterans in the Panhandle. And also, if you look at the convention or the grant, they were hoping through the entire state to help 5,000.
Larry, did you turn your mic off?
No, it's on.
No.
Oh.
It's all right.
Well, that could be possible.
No, they're off.
I know, I think they said in their outline that there's like 330,000
Test.
veterans in the state of Oklahoma.
They were hoping to help 5,000,
Uh-huh.
is what their letter states. An
Wow.
estimated 5,000 military-connected Oklahomans will be served through these programs funded by the awards. That's their exact wording. That's not up there. I've got it here from the Tourism Board meeting.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons why it was voted down 5-0 at the Tourism Board meeting.
Okay, I didn't go there.
As a veteran, I would like to make sure this money went to the veterans,
Sure.
not just to help pay bills for artist incubation or to cover other costs. And like I said, I just cannot see artist incubation helping 1,000 veterans here in the Panhandle.
Well, I don't either. I mean, I haven't seen.
But that's what was said at the Tourism Board meeting.
Larry, it was voted down 5-0 in the,
The $5,000 for in the Tourism Board meeting.
The other one was 2-2 and.
Yeah, and one abstained
Abstain.
on the 3,000.
on the three.
It's such a great idea. It's such a great idea, but Larry brings up some good points. How is that going to be patrolled as far as the funds? And not even knowing if it is a matching fund when 2 other cities have received it without a matching, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's such a great program. I mean, you make great points about it.
I don't think anybody here wants to go against the veterans, Jim, but I don't know if you've seen the form you guys
I've not
filled out.
seen that.
Would you give me a loan based on this?
I can't read it from here, but it doesn't look like there's much on it, so.
There's not.
There isn't on either one of them.
Well, I apologize for that because I didn't submit these.
I
'Cause
can
there's
wrap my head around if I knew the money was going to the veterans,
Yeah. There's,
almost voting against the 3,000 and doing the 5, but I'd sure want to know it was going to the veterans.
I've got their complete process here. I mean,
Well, even with the 3,000, it says, please attach a budget for this event, and we don't have anything. There's no event coordinator phone number, there's no email address. Attach a letter of a commitment to host organizations. I mean, and in reality, to be honest with you, with these applications, they should never even been looked at.
yeah, well, I
Either one of
apologize.
them.
I have not seen that.
Yeah. My concern is I want to make sure that if it goes to the veterans, I don't have a problem.
Right, I as well. I mean,
But if it's used for something else, then I definitely have a problem.
it will not be used for nothing else, I promise you.
Could we put something in the motion where we could,
What I can do.
Request.
Come back.
I'm sorry?
How about just letting
is there a time frame that you need this matching, or
If-
can you verify that? Is there a time frame that you need?
If I can come back in January, I'll give you the whole brochure and everything else. and the whole
That's
plan.
gonna be
Yeah. 'Cause
best.
And Jim, one other question I would ask you is, does it have to be matched from the city? Or could we get or could you guys get private donations from citizens? I mean, let's be honest, I think everybody in this room would be all
Sure.
about helping veterans.
Right.
it might be easier to draw the money that way too.
But like I said, the reason I'm behind it, it's a great program. It's a great idea.
Yeah, and I think we all agree with that,
Yeah.
but, I mean, you can see there, I don't feel like a lot of effort was put forth to get city money.
I don't blame you. I haven't seen that.
I want to put it in terms, maybe that, not against it by any means, but the tourism board voted 5-0. So my motion would be that we deny the grants, but we also give you the opportunity to reapply to the tourism board with complete information, and then see how that flies.
Sure. 'Cause,
I agree with that.
So that's my motion.
That's,
I second.
I have a
I'm
motion.
surprised this got turned into. I apologize, because I wasn't part of it.
I have a motion and a second.
Swager,
aye.
Egger,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Alvedras,
Aye.
Living Good.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item 14.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jim. Discussion and possible action on board member renewals and filling board vacancies.
Well, this is the action item to reappoint or appoint some board members. We've got several vacancies. Each one of the boards has met and voted on the people that are supplied here to fill vacancies or get reappointed. And other than that, it's just more of a housekeeping item than anything else.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the renewal of Corey Winters, Bob Fagan, and Jamie Kaufman to the golf board, Josh Stetzer, Tony Hartman to the GAAHC board, and vote to approve the new application of Michael Clowers to the golf board and Jason Egger to the board of adjustments, and the resignation of Tina McFadden for the board of adjustment board.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Egger,
Aye.
Alvedras,
Aye.
Swager,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Living Good.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item 15, reports from committees, council members, and/or city manager. Joe Don, why don't you start us off?
Okay, well, there we go. I've been sending out weekly emails. I'm not going to rehash any of that. And if council would like for me to adjust how I'm sending those out in any form or fashion, I'd be happy to do that. I would like to go over the November financials a little bit, though. We have not, typically by the time we give this report, we have our current month's sales tax reports in, but as of yesterday, I did not have the sales tax for December. So really, there's been no change since the last report on sales and use tax collections. We're running about 1.6% behind where we were at during the same time frame last year, and we're running about 8.4% behind what was budgeted for this year for sales and use tax. Our utility revenues, we are running about 1.6% behind where we were at the same time last year. And again, we're running behind about approximately 8.4% on the against what was budgeted. So we're not receiving revenues near as what we were what we had budgeted, nor are we receiving the same amount that we received last year. Over the course of the year through November, we have collected across all funds a total of approximately $22.3 million. We have expended approximately $17.7 million. That's going to leave us with about, if we were closing out the year now, that would leave us approximately $4 million or about 1% moving into, to roll over into our fund balance. That's far short of where we would like, what we would have budgeted. Typically, we'd like to see at least 4 or 5% carryover into our fund balance for emergency cases, for emergencies in the future. And that would be my brief report tonight on the financial situation for the city of Guymon.
I'm going to speak for myself here and say that I appreciate the updates, Joe Don, via email. That's the best form that you could update me on that. The consistency of them is good, and I have no problems with them.
I'll second that. Any other reports?
I've just got one thing, and I hope everybody took a moment yesterday to pause and think about what happened in 1941 on Pearl Harbor and how that's changed the world. And just take a pause and be thankful for the country we do live in. Thank you.
I'm good.
Okay. Any new business? Nope. Okay. We'll stand adjourned as the Guymon City Council. Go to utility.
Okay.